Unpure Sports here with a UFC fight night, Oliveira versus GAMROT. Man, we had a bunch of fights. We're down to 12 fights. That's okay. We've got a lot of opportunities. We've got a scandal on the weigh-ins. We've got people missing weight by a significant amount. We've got ugly women's MMA, maybe perhaps a prospect. We've got a little bit of everything. Weight classes from flyweight up to heavyweight. Man, we've got a little bit of everything. I'm Mike Brown, a.k.a. H3 Buddha, here with JSU, John. What are we looking at, man? We're looking at a Brazilian card, first time in a long time. There's going to be some judge, at least one fight. You'll go, that dude lost. In the Brazilian, they go up, they raise his hand, and you go, I should have known that.
Yeah, it's definitely going to happen. It's fine. It's every card. Let's be honest, right? There's every card. We have a guy who, it might not be as controversial every card, but like we always have those cards where, it's ridiculous and there's no shot the person who won actually won. I think last week, it wasn't like that bad. We did have Patchy lose. I thought he clearly won. But it wasn't like it wasn't like crazy controversial. I did think I really do believe there's no shot that kid won, but it wasn't like I'm floored, but Patchy was like, what'd he close at? He closed at something ridiculous.
It kept going.
He closed at something. What was it, like minus 2,000 or something like that? He closed like really high.
Oh, yeah. I mean, from minus 300 to like a gajillion. And then it's a close decision. It doesn't make, but it shows you, right? Like a lot of these submissions where they'll just get back in guard or get some type of like guillotine that just doesn't work. The judges tend to be looking at that more. But, we should look at that last card. 4 of 6 on the prize, on the UFC, pick 6 on DK, man. I mean, we're pretty good. We're getting on fire. And you know what? The strongest legs that we have there are the ones that are hitting. We hit the week before 6 for 6, 4 for 6. I think we're doing pretty good here. What do you think on those? I mean,
4, 6, that's, we can do better. That's what I'm going to say. We can do better. We will do better, hopefully. And try and go 6 of 6 here. 4 of 6. It's okay. Not really what we want though. We want 5 of 6 or 6 of 6. I'm not happy with it. That's the way it goes on the show.
I think you might be happy about one thing. Ramiz Brahimaj. Holy hell.
I was very happy with that.
I mean, that was a bet. That was it was an underdog with upside, right? There wasn't a ton.
Yep.
And if you mix a lot of the things that we've been saying, you look at me saying Yana Santos had win equity. She didn't score tremendous, but it was that one, was there. The chalk has been hitting. Let me give you my honest truth. These guys that are like the Edmund Sabazians, the Punahali Sorianos, the first week that I was on here with that Ukrainian guy, the minus whatever 200 inside the distance. A lot of these middle to top range guys are hitting at a high rate right now in producing as chalk. Something's going to give at some point, but then you look at Merab. I mean, imagine not playing Merab, and then you're like, turn it off.
Fading Merab is just, it's got to be the worst thing ever. Did you see the thing where he reportedly he sparred 5 rounds at like noon or 1 o'clock on fight day, like before the fight? Absolutely ridiculous. What a savage. I can't imagine betting against that man. I've done it in my life. I can't imagine doing it again. Like I've done it before and it's sickening. I told myself when I did it, however many fights ago it was, I was like, I'm not doing this again. This guy is a psychopath and he's just like, he's not going to lose. Like he's not going to lose unless someone puts him like cold out on one shot. And it's just,
it is what it is at this stage.
Corey Sandhagen gave him a good fight though. I'll give Corey Sandhagen credit. He did a lot of things really well. Like he really did. At times he definitely had the striking going. He did really well defensively, I thought.
At the end of round.
As good as you really could do for someone like Corey Sandhagen against a guy like Merab. And I mean, shit, like that, he gave him a tougher fight than maybe Merab even thought. But yeah, in the end, it's always Merab. The guy's got unlimited upside, and it just continues to show. So
yeah, it's crazy because he at one point wasn't the slowest of starters, but he was a little bit slower. So that's why he's doing these 5 rounds before. Because let's be honest, I imagine by the 10th round he's probably in his prime for that fight. But yeah, the main event, I don't think a lot of people saw it scoring high. I mean, obviously there was some type of rib injury. I'm going to pivot from potentially a Magomed Ankalaev coming in with a rib injury. That was kind of the narrative after the fight, to potentially this card, man. We have one of the craziest situations in the first fight of the night, right? No. It's deep down. It's not the first fight of the night. It's the weight miss in the first fight of the night, where Simon Oliveira comes in overweight against the Juan Lacerda. Juan Lacerda minus on DraftKings a minus 360. Come back on Oliveira a plus 285. Lacerda leg kicks, heavy striking. Lacerda, decent prospect. My problem is I don't think Oliveira is UFC level, and even more so after the weight miss. I just don't think JSU that he's taking it all that serious. It's not like this guy is going to come in and try to aggressively grapple. I don't think. I mean, even with the weight miss, he's a generalist. It might stall out scoring if he does not get finished. Maybe he does get it against the cage with that weight miss. He's able to use that weight bully a little. Lacerda might want to be at distance anyways. I have concerns of overall scoring in this fight, but for the first fight of the night, it is buried down where you might have lower ownership. What's your overall thoughts on this one? Because I don't really get here in my lineups, but I'm still, I think there might be upside for one guy in this fight.
Yeah, I'm with you on your Oliveira take, where he's just, he's not really UFC caliber anyways. And then you get to the weight miss, which was just totally blatant. I mean, he missed by, what was it, like 9 pounds or something like that? Like just not even trying, right, at that point. Yeah. And it's fine. Whatever. It looks like the fight's still gonna go. I agree with you that Lacerda is, I would say he's definitely more of a he wants to get to his grappling. He's one of those guys, though, that he struggles at times against UFC level guys to get to his grappling, because the actual takedowns, we see this all the time with like grapplers, right, Mike, where it's like, the actual takedowns to get them down to use your jujitsu and your grappling is not very good. And now, takedown defense, these guys are just so much better when they get into the UFC. So you have to have like very good takedowns, and he just doesn't have like very good takedowns. And you go see his last like fights, and you'll see that, against Stamen was easily defending his takedowns, and they got worse and worse as he got a little more fatigued. But I would say he's the better fighter, I think, in both categories, right? In the stand-up. So he just has the edge. And I'm not going to lie, when I saw plus 550 for him to win by KO, I was like, ooh, that's a nice little tasty number. You know what I mean? Because Oliveira also wants to be on the ground. His striking is just terrible. And Lacerda does have those like long kicks that are pretty nice. He throws them up the middle to the head. He mixes it up. He doesn't throw as many like combinations as you would like. But like against someone like Oliveira, he does pump a jab. And like I said, Oliveira is not very good. So I could see him finishing this fight via KO. I know that's the longer shot to the submission prop, but I don't mind Lacerda here. I'm definitely not playing Oliveira. I know he has the weight miss, and people are like, oh, I can't do it. So it's Lacerda or nothing for me here.
Isn't it kind of pace of fight as well? There's multiple paths of this fight busting, and I think that's what's a little bit of a concern from a fantasy standpoint. For the bet standpoint, man, you might have uncovered some gold there. If your line is minus, say, 200 inside the distance, minus 170, whatever you want to call it, it's all over the place. How is his by knockout plus 400, plus 500? That is a great find. Like
550 on DK. It's 550 on DK right now.
Get a piece of that now before it's gone, because it shouldn't be there by lock. It's wild. So they're basically saying he's going to finish the fight. They expect it to be a 50-50 coin flip, that it's a knockout. I'm sorry, submission. If he's going to finish, it's going to be 50-50 between those two. Simon Oliveira has been starched out there before. Yep. Yeah, I love that. I wish we almost had that upside for pick 6.
It's like they just expect it to be a grapple fuck match where one grapples the other. And it's like, if you're Lacerda, I know you have good grappling, but why would you even grapple with all of, I think you just have the edge on the feet for once. It's like, but maybe they still just grapple each other. You know,
that's fine too. Again, if one guy's getting a 30-27, we're happy with that. I just don't see the guy that's not taking things serious in Oliveira really caring. I mean, 3 straight losses too. It's not like he had a win against a bum in there. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of scary that he even got another fight here. So yeah, I think we're on the same page there. We'll just move on to the next fight of the night, where we end up seeing Julia Pilastri versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. We have Julia Pilastri as the favorite here against KK. She is a minus like 550 favorite, minus 600. Come back on Karolina, about a plus 400. Karolina's my babe. I love her, but man, this is a tough one because
she's your babe.
Like, oh, she's great.
I'll tell you right now, we got an actual babe on this card coming up. We got
fights. In 2 fights. Yeah, there's a better babe.
Not that these two women, they're not. Julia's not.
Pilastri has a market. Pilastri definitely has a market.
But we got a legit babe coming up. UFC newcomer coming up.
Oh yeah, a prospect in many ways. Some would say
big time. Yep.
Pilastri, big favorite at home in Brazil versus Karolina. Listen, Karolina is one of these cases where she's retired. She's come back into the UFC. Is it for a paycheck? Is it to promote her OnlyFans? This is a rare narrative. You've got an OnlyFans versus an OnlyFans here, man. I don't see what upside there is for Karolina. I mean, she's always been just striking, lower volume striking. Pilastri has the ability to mix things up. It's like minus 225 by decision on DraftKings Sportsbook, man, for Pilastri, which makes me think there might not be a lot to be had, but maybe Karolina can get bullied here in the clinch, give up a bunch of clinch control. I like the control time plus 2.5 minutes, because I think Karolina is not going to be physical. I like Pilastri's upside. Fantasy-wise, I think it'll be like an 85-point win, maybe. You know how we get those hidden scoring in women's fight, you know? What do you think? I mean, overall upside, it's concerning. 2 fights to start the night. Fantasy-wise.
Yeah, honestly, Pilastri's fighting, like, you go back and watch her fights, and I always thought she was, like, pretty talented. The Corey McKenna fight always sticks out in my mind, though, because, like, Corey McKenna is someone that she went to a split, like, decision with, and she did end up winning that fight. I did think she did win the fight, but it was alarming the way she won the fight. Like, I thought she was going to be able to steamroll through Corey, and Corey was giving it to her. Like, Corey was giving her shots, and Corey's not known for, like, her stand-up and stuff like that. And she was tagging her at points in that fight where I was like, oh, that's not bad. And then you go to the Loopy fight, and she looked like a completely different fighter. I mean, I know Loopy took her down, and whenever Loopy needed to take her down, she did. But there were points in that fight where Loopy was, like, desperate to take her down, because if she didn't take her down, she was getting tagged on the feet. And that aggression that she fought with against Loopy, if you could take anything away from a loss like that against Loopy, I honestly look at it as a pretty good loss for Julia. So then you bring it to this fight, and it's like, okay, what does Karolina want? She wants to hang out on the outside, use her, movement, her leg kicking, and just stay at range. And I think Julia's just got to come in and do the exact same thing she tried to do to Loopy, which was just pressure, get in her face, make her uncomfortable, and just try and get, inside of that kicking range. And if she can do that, I think she could have major success here. The question is, is it a 3-round decision win, which she probably doesn't score as well? Or can she find a finish? But does she find the finish really early? Probably not, right, Mike? So like, then it's like, is she going to volume up takedowns? I don't think so. I think she's a good bet to bet like inside the distance. I think there might be a better DFS play, but I do like her in general. I like her as a fighter, and I think she's pretty good. I think there's going to be better DFS plays in that upper 9K range. So I'll probably be a little lower or at the field, depending on where I'm at right now. I mean, what do you have her coming in at?
I was just going to say, it's just about 20% for her, negative 1,000 for Carolina.
Yeah. like, so I'm just below on Julia. I think I got her at like 15% right now in my builds.
It's a spot if you want to pivot off some of these Joel Alvarez's, Mosquita, Petrinos. You can go to her knowing you're going to get lower ownership, and the ceiling is actually somewhat unknown. So I think that would be interesting to mix into your lineups, but it's just not going to be a slam play. It's not going to be a crazy thing here. So definitely the first 2 fights of the night in somewhat lower owned, like we talked about. Oliveira is super low, and it's just one of those situations where Lacerda is going to be a little bit owned at 40%. I mean, I'd rather the women's fight. Give me the women's fight that has an unknown, right?
Yeah, I mean, like in theory too, if it was a 3-round decision, she should be able to get over this strike number. But I agree with you; these lines are pretty good. Like you said, 85 fantasy points. She said at 85.5.
Control time would be the only thing I'm looking at, and that's a little bit concerning. Again, it could be against the cage, which would be very terrible for scoring, but at least you're getting the control time. Let's just take a quick. I'll lead us in. You'll get us to the next fight, and I'll look up what Carolina has been controlled against the cage, because that will be my deciding factor there, honestly. Next fight of the night. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'll just click her for now, and then we can always uncheck her as we keep going.
Yep, I'll dig in a little bit more. We move on to the next fight, where we see a fun one in the flyweight division: Lucas Rocha versus Stuart Nickel. I always talk about a buy low spot, and I think people are sniffing it out here. You get Stuart Nickel coming in with a lot of upside. They're like, oh, this guy could be the next big thing. He could work his way up. He could face a top 15 right away. He could top 5 right away. Bang, out of there. I mean, listen, we know what little T-Rex arms can do, right? He can go in there, grab the ghillie, and kill anybody. So that's what he does. He takes Nickel out. It's a great buy low spot. I really like that potential for him here. He is the underdog on a lot of sports books. He's a pick 'em on others. Lucas Rocha, generalist. How do you describe Lucas Rocha, JSU?
I think he's got pretty decent boxing. I think he's got nice speed on the feet with his hands. I'm not saying like the power. He doesn't carry I don't think he carries like one punch crazy knockout power, but I think the speed in which he throws at, he's got decent pretty good combinations in my opinion. But the problem with Lucas Rocha is he gets taken down, and it's not just by UFC level guys. It was on the regional scene. He was getting taken down. He would just eventually find his way back up and then figure out a way through it. In the UFC, that becomes harder and harder to do. And we saw that in his last fight. He got finished eventually. And I agree with you on Nickel. I think we got a buy low spot on Nickel, who had an unfortunate fight with Jesus Aguilar. I'm going to say unfortunate because
late notice.
No, it has nothing to do with the notice. It was literally just like the craziest scenario ever, where like he reverses with a Kimura, he gets on top, he's throwing some good stuff, and then like Jesus kind of presents his back or gets off, he shoots again, he presents his back. And when he presents his back, Stuart Nickel, for some reason, he like jumps his back, but his feet are like hanging up in the air. He doesn't like lock a hook in or anything like that, like nothing. And he just falls right off the top. And then Jesus does what he does and jumps the ghillie. And, and what was funny about that fight was, I don't know if you remember it, but when he jumped the ghillie, I think it was DC, whoever else, but they were like talking for like 30 seconds. Nothing about him in the guillotine. Kind of just like they were like, oh, he should be fine. Like, he's fine. He's safe. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh wait, that's a little tight. That looks tight. and then all of a sudden they start like addressing the fact that this man's still in a ghillie like 30, 40 seconds. And they've been talking like through it the whole time. And then he ends up getting subbed. So yeah, I think it's a buy low spot. I'm on nickel. I think he's got decent takedowns. I think he's going to force the grappling too, which he needs to do, even though it lost him his last fight. I think he needs to do it again because Hoja, that's where you're going to see the holes. And Stuart Nichols got good ground and pound. He's got he's got decent submissions too. But I do like him when he gets on top. He's got nice ground and pound. So I think he's a pretty good buy at 7,700, and I'm going to lean his way. The numbers are kind of low too, which means maybe they think Hoja might be stuck on his back a lot.
I mean, yeah. And the reason why this line is staying close is because it's a Brazilian. I honest to God think that you put this fight in a neutral location, you put it in an Apex card, Nichols like minus 150, minus 170. People are betting him to the gills. That's just how these things happen. So yeah. I like buying low. I wonder on what's the plus 3.5. I'll have to look that up as well. Also, to circle back, I did look up Carolina. Last two fights controlled over 3 minutes, 5 minutes in her last fight.
Oh, wow. Okay. I like it.
I think we have to lock in that 2.5. You know, that's the second week in a row we've locked in 2.5 women's fight. So it's definitely doable. I like the opportunity there. But
and a couple things in chat though, real quick. We haven't hit this fight yet.
No.
We're only the third fight in, so we'll get to that, and we'll also
get
lot
of hand talk.
The hand talk. Yeah,
just, Mr. Hands over here. They want to hear the hand talk, but listen,
they get to the hand talk. I got an expert opinion on the hand talk. We'll get to it.
And you're gonna hear something I say all day long. The middle range. I've never seen a card with more upside, with more unknowns than the middle range than this particular card. Typically, you've heard me from the first couple shows I've been on here saying I want to get down to the Neil Magny's minimum salary. I don't think that's the way you build lineups. I think you stay in this middle range. You attack these fights like the Roach and Nickel. You'd play the twofold. You play the leave the money on the table game, and you play the leverage or lower own guys. That's how you should be attacking on this slate. I love this fight because it's right here. You've got that balance of win equity and upside. I'm going to have both sides. That's just what it comes down to. And I'm moving on to the next fight. Is there a prospect in this fight? Did you say that there's potentially a prospect named Beatrice Mesquita?
Bia. Yeah. Let's hear it.
And are you telling me Russian Ronda is a fraud? Are you trying to tell me that the 5-3 girl that's named Russian Ronda?
I'm not saying fraudulent, possibly. Yes. And we'll say prospect on Bia, but she does have holes in her game. Definitely.
Green.
So I don't want to go.
They rushed her up. I mean, this is a girl in Beatrice that would 95% of the time go through the Contender Series. But they said, nah, we're going to Brazil for the first time in a couple of years. This girl's, look at her tapology. I mean, it's all straight Brazilian jiu-jitsu matches. So this is a situation where she definitely should go in there, grapple, get takedowns. The unknown is what the hell does this thing look like down the stretch? I mean, she's gone 2 rounds basically max in her fights. I love the upside for her. Let's just call it how it is. I think that you have a women's fight here that, it gets you off of the ownership that's going to go to Joel Alvarez. Everyone's favorite Joel Alvarez. He's a go type of fighter. You really have to make a decision between the two. Let's be honest. If you select one, you're definitely not taking the other. Bia is definitely the A++ side here. But Russian Ronda here, man. I mean, are we just in a women's MMA fight? I mean, they're both what? 34, 35, right? We see in chat Jason bringing that point up. The Stephanie Edgar fight, she missed weight on that one coming into the UFC, so I really don't look at that as anything. I mean, the knee bar against Edgar actually is a good look, but this is could get ugly. And the more ugly it gets, I have to think Ronda just doesn't have the gas tank. That's the big thing for me. I think that Bia can take over late. So I think there's a lot of paths of Bia scoring 105 plus points, whether it be the submission early. Even a second round probably looks good because she's probably dominating the first round to lead into the second round, which means that submission comes, 7.5 minutes into the fight. That's probably a good thing, right, JSU?
Yeah, I mean, the fights I've watched of her, she definitely she there's a feeling out process in round one. Her chin stays up pretty high. She does get tagged in the striking. So if you do have like halfway decent striking, you will be able to connect against her. But she finds a way kind of through it. Her striking itself is not very good. But where she is really good is when she gets on top. Takedowns are okay. But when she gets on top and she finally gets you down, she's very good. She's very good at taking the back. She's very good with ground and pound. I noticed she's got heavy ground and pound. So yeah, she has the potential to score. Very similar to who was the chick on the card like a couple weeks ago that we had. That was UFC. She was new to the UFC. I'm blanking on her name right now.
I'd have it right on the tip of my tongue if it wasn't such a.
It wasn't last card. I think it was the card before, right?
Yeah, I'll check it out. Don't worry.
Yeah. I can't remember her name, but it's very similar to her. I think her striking defense is worse, probably, but it's very similar style of fighter to the chick I'm blanking on right now. But Mike will figure out her name. But either way, she's a good DraftKings price. I even think like if I were to play a extremely cheap dog, it would be Irina Montague. Thank you, Montague. Yeah, it'll be very similar to her, but like I said, the striking defense it might be even worse, and the takedowns might not be as good as Montague's was. But once she gets down, she's definitely very similar. And like I said, if I play a 6K fighter, it would be a sprinkle of Irina, just because, like I said, Bia does get hit. And she can get tagged a lot. But I think what happens is exactly what Mike said. I think she slows down Irina. I think at one point she'll panic, present the back. She'll take the back, and then either just get the choke or she'll ground and pound her to a stoppage. It's another fight where I think the KO number is too high. Everyone's going to bet the sub at -130 or whatever it is right now, which, by the way, you can get under 2.5 and submission at +100 on DraftKings. If you go to like the same game parlays, you can get +100 on that. If you're going to do the sub, do that. But, I think the KO number is light, +550 for KO for Bia. She's got heavy ground and pound. So if she doesn't get that choke, she might just drop elbow bombs until till the ref calls it. So yeah, I think it's a second round stoppage. So either way, just by the way she fights, and I think it still could score decent. So I do like her. Do you see pick six you like?
I like the over on Bia, but it's
which one?
terrifying.
The significant strikes or the
points? I mean, honestly, both of them. Let's be honest.
I like the significant strikes.
But the significant strikes is like Ronda here. Probably pretty hittable. Let's check out her last couple fights. She's
terrible. Her hands are like somewhat like they're by her chest. Like it's terrible. Her face is right there to be hit.
So Edgar was a fluke. That was a finish right away. That was the knee bar. She absorbed 9 strikes. The others, she absorbed 101 by Segula to hammer the over. Segula
That's what I'm saying.
Dude,
I'm saying she's terrible.
I didn't realize it was that many. I mean,
dude, she got tagged by her so much.
Remember Segula's debut?
Yeah.
Ugly.
She's terrible. And she got tagged by her all fight. Yeah.
I like these are also numbers that the sports books are speculating on. Let's lay it out there. Like the 16.5, they're like, she'll punch her 16 in the times in the face, and maybe she'll get the submission. That's what they're basically saying. Also,
even the takedown line, it's like they're pretty much saying like if she gets her down once, it might be over. You know what I mean? Like it might be over. But the good thing is she could get the 16 strikes on top.
Oh, yeah, and I was just going to say there's really no over-under line on DraftKings Sportsbook because I always do look for that value, but it is 25 plus significant strikes is plus 110. So by the time you get to that rung, 5, say 10 strikes below, it'd be like minus 150, right? So you're getting some value by taking the over on significant strikes there on Mosqueda. Pick 6. I like it.
I would say her wrestling is, I'm not going to say her wrestling itself is amazing. Like, I don't think her takedowns are anything special. But I will say, if she can get to the back, even if it's standing, like let's say she somehow transitions to the back from the top, from standing, that's the best way. She'll even climb the back just from stand. So like, she'll find a way, I think, to get this to the ground at some point. Can Irina survive? That's the question, because Irina's going to slow down.
Pulling guard isn't even a bad idea because I think you're going to have the opportunity to reverse with the Kimura. I mean, who cares?
I don't think she's going to need to pull guard, honestly. The way Irina fights, I feel like she's going to be able to, at some point, catch a kick, get her down, whatever it is, and find a path through. So yeah, I mean, her takedowns are not like against a better fighter. I would be like fade. She's gonna get lit up on the feet. Like anyone who's got good takedown defense is gonna give her issues.
SC brings up the point, the 9,600, 100 plus, well north of 100 plus. Yes. But there's 2 fighters. And here's the thing. You're getting a lower own than the Joel Alvarez. There's a ceiling of a first round finish, whether it be quick or whether it be deeper into the first round. I think it's going to be ideal in scoring purposes, right? DraftKings is the best for takedown. If you have a fighter that's going to aggressively go for takedowns, aggressively get submissions, look for that control, perhaps some heavy hands, it's an opportunity to get well north of 100 and well north of 100 pretty quickly.
Yeah, you lean on the heavy wrestlers. So, not to say Joel Alvarez is definitely the better 9K fighter overall, but there's ownership and, anything can happen in these fights. So do you want to take significant strikes more? What do you want to do?
Yeah. That just seems like a no brainer after looking at Alexieva absorbing a ton. So who would have ever thought we have 2 women's MMA in our pick 6 to start, and we have some confidence in them, man. That's what we like. We like uncovering some winners. Picking a winner in this next fight might be a little bit more difficult as we have 2 heavyweights here in Vitor Petrino versus Thomas Peterson. This just screams ugly from the get-go. Petrino at a minus 290 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Comeback on Mr. Peterson. He's a plus 235. I just don't know. I mean, this is a situation where we have Petrino moving up to the heavyweight last time out. I can't say it was the best look. I mean, against Austin Lane, you did what he needed to do. We got him subbed in the first round. A lot of people, when they end up going against Austin Lane, it's prospects, right? They're like, all right, prospect killer, prospect maker. That's what he is. And a lot of people end up going to the second round with him. Have you seen that through his record? It's like Mario Pinto, who we'll talk about, second round. Denise, second round. These are all fighters that are, trying to work their way up through the heavyweight rankings, and Petrino gets him out of there in the first round, does what he needs to. I think Petrino has the higher ceiling, but as he's not been tested at this weight class. Thomas Peterson's a legit heavyweight, a guy who can mix in the wrestling. I think takedown upside is really interesting in this fight. If he can gas him out, it's going to be very interesting. The problem is, for scoring on DraftKings and fantasy, I'm a little bit concerned in this one. The deeper the fight goes, it falls off a cliff because Petrino does not throw high volume strikes. He throws 1-2, 1-2, and it's just not good for scoring purposes. So I think perhaps people will be looking at this fight going, I need a piece of this. This is the fight I want a piece of. A heavyweight, finish equity. And let's be honest, it definitely can happen. But when this fight busts, it's going to be ugly to watch. Therefore, give me some Thomas Peterson. I mean, Thomas Peterson down the stretch, holding him against the cage, grabbing his legs, making him fall down. Petrino's gassed. He finds his way up. Peterson could get multiple takedowns here. I like the upside for him, and I like Petrino to starch him. If Petrino can get off early and get like a heavy striking game, Peterson's been caught many times before. It's a fun fight from a fantasy standpoint, but more often than not, I'm concerned that this thing busts, and it's pretty concerning because I think there will be some ownership here.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with Stewie here. I do not think Petrino can withstand the wrestling if he does not get him out early. I agree.
The Pleasure Man. Remember the Pleasure Man?
Yeah, the Pleasure Man, of course. But back to this fight, if that happens and it's not an early finish, I don't know if either fighter's going to score particularly well, but I would take the dog in the chance that hopefully we could get a win in a decision and it could score just enough to be optimal. So I actually have more of Thomas Peterson, not that much. I'm only like 15%, which I don't know what he's going to be coming in at for ownership, but what's that?
I'm seeing about 20% for him. We have Petrino at 30. So you're getting a decent amount of leverage.
Petrino's definitely my big stand because I'm probably going to fade him. And
he's a fadeable fighter for a while now. He's been.
He seems like first rounder kind of busting in general. And, you know, I kind of like taking the shot that he busts in the under on the fantasy points from a pick six side. I think that's the one that's staring at me. Thomas Peterson control time at 1.5 minutes, I think also very interesting. So either one of those would work for me with this fight. And I'm going to be lower on it for DFS, so I don't have much else to say. I want to get Ryan real quick. He says Luan's never won by KO. Yeah, because he's had the grappling advantage in all of the fights he's pretty much winning by. My whole point behind it was Oliveira's never been subbed. He has 11 wins by sub. He has 0 losses by sub, and he's been knocked out multiple times in the UFC. So yeah, Luan is not a KO guy because he normally just has the edge in the grappling when he's winning, and he'll just go to that. My whole point behind the KO number was it's too high, and he's going to actually have the edge probably in the striking in this fight, which is normally not the case when you watch Luan fight. That was the whole point of the Luan KO.
The other thing too is sometimes you look at the history. Oh, guy hasn't had a knockout. Who is we were just talking about him, the T-Rex arms.
Jesus Aguilar.
Jesus Aguilar never had a knockout. And who did he go against?
Shannon Ross. I bet so much. I bet so much on that fight.
Yep.
That fight was amazing.
Yes. Oh, and it happened perfectly right away.
Yeah.
Not the same situation, but this was when you look at Luan, it's like if you've got a guy in Oliveira who's been knocked out the last 2 times, not taking this serious, he's the first person to kind of
quit. No, say it.
Quit. He'll quit. He'll quit. He'll turtle up and he'll take the way out. He's not going to submit him. They're both, well, he can, but I'm saying like.
And I will say Luan does a good job. You go watch his fights. He does a decent job at attacking the body with the T kicks. And he will rip to the body when he throws combos. He will throw some hooks to the body. And you start throwing to the body like that a little much, and that's when those guys, the hands start to come down, and you can catch them in the face, and then they'll really start to shell up. So, I mean, I don't want to talk about it too much, but
yeah. So we'll get stand on. We'll get over there. The Davison guy. We'll get to him. You know, former champ. Put some respect on his name. This fight, it's important for the context of the slate too, because it's like. This 9K range, I told you how much I like that middle range and I'm going to be living in. So I'm concerned about fading all of these guys and girls. Petrino is one that I want to fade. It's just long-term. Yeah. It's one of those long-term plays. It's low volume. It's limited path of victory. Obviously, home crowd. It's going to go crazy. Every single strike that he lands on Peterson. Peterson also doesn't wear damage very well. That's one big concern for me in this spot, is that it takes one hard body shot. He's just all red. His face is swelling up. That's one concern for optics of the fight. But when you look at pure upside, when it goes down, to the mat. I think that Peterson absolutely could cook him down the stretch. Second round, third round, rinse, repeat takedowns. There's upside there. We talked about the fantasy points under. I kind of like that for Petrino because it looks like.
Do you like the under or do you like the control? We can do both. We can actually do both if you want to put both of them on. Do you like the control time and the under?
A correlated play?
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. He holds him down for the first round, and then
I could see it.
Gets a knockout. No. Seriously, think about it. He holds him down for the first round, and then Petrino comes out and takes his head off in the second. We could still win that bet.
Yeah, I could see it.
I like that a lot. I like.
Let's keep it for now. We can always take a play out if we need a spot.
Yep, it makes a lot of sense. Let's move on to the next fight. Middle range builds. I love. If you're not looking here, you're gonna go crazy because you're looking at Jafil Fialho versus Clayton Carpenter. It's Fialho. Money has come back in on him. He is a favorite at -130. Come back on Carpenter at +110. DraftKings purposes, you are looking at a value play -130 for 8K. Carpenter 8,200. I haven't heard a lot of narrative about this week. And João Fialho had a great fight against Nascimento. 4 takedowns, 6.5 minutes of control time. Not a lot of, he's just not going to throw a lot of strikes. His upside is in that grappling, the control time, the takedowns. But the narrative I'm talking about is he came in sick. He had some type of illness, whether it be a cold or flu. He came into that fight sick. And against Nascimento, you don't want to do that, dude. Even when it hits the mat, he'll reverse you. He's got they're pretty much the same level. Like, things are going to happen. He would fall off the back. You're talking about falling off the back. Fialho did that multiple times in that fight. This is a guy who, when he's on, can put up a gajillion fantasy points. And it's basically early finish equity combined with the ability to cook his opponents. I like Fialho long term. I like when he's healthy. It looks like he's healthy coming into this one. Do you look into that type of stuff? Because it's like he scored 42 points in the flu game against Nascimento. And then you look at I'll give you my Carpenter take here. Carpenter kind of rushed into the UFC. Ronderos out of the UFC. Rocha. We've talked about Rocha already, right? Ulanbekov. He loses against him. Still green, still raw. A lot of adversity here, JSU. I mean, this kid Carpenter is going to have a ton of adversity. This is a do or die type of situation for him, because if he loses this, he'll be on the chopping block. He's got the same type of takedown, want to control game. I like the experience for Fialho to show up here. I like the value at the -130. He's going to be like a first click for cash games. And do you look at that same thing that Nascimento? I thought he looked good sick.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of João Fialho. I bet him earlier in the week. He was plus 102 or something like that. Now the line's moved to -130. I like them as the dog. I kind of get the line movement a little bit. I mean, I think this should be closer to a coin flippy fight. Mm-hmm. I do think João is the better fighter, though. I think he's the better all-around fighter. I agree with you. He was sick in the last fight. He still fought hard. He's an absolute dog. Obviously, he's a dog. Almost snapped Makaev's knee clean off too. If you don't remember that, with the knee bar, and he really did damage to the knee too. I still cannot believe he did not tap to that submission. That was insane. I think João can't believe Makaev, looking back on that, probably didn't tap to that knee bar. But that just kind of tells you the skill that this guy has. You know what I mean? The skill that he has on the ground. And that's where, let's be honest, Carpenter, he wants this fight to be on the ground. That's where he feels he has the advantage against a lot of guys. And against Ulanbekov, it didn't work out well for him. It was kind of like a clash of styles, and Ulanbekov was just a little better at Carpenter's game, let's be honest. And the interesting part of this fight is the way João fights. He's much more aggressive, right? He's going to go for it more. So it presents opportunities for bigger DFS scores. And we've got 8K, 8,200. This is a great fight to target. I'm going to be heavy on the João side, but if you like Carpenter, I think you should want a lot of him because I think they're going to grapple. I don't know if you see it differently, but I feel like both guys are going to come in. They're going to grapple. There's going to be crazy scrambles in this fight, and whoever wins the scrambles are going to end up winning this fight. I'm going to take the Jaffel side, but yeah, I think it's a good fight for DFS, and I think it's a fight where hopefully you got the dog money before Jaffel moved to the ultimate favorite.
Absolutely. And, we often talk about money line equity with upside. And through many weeks, we've seen situation where we'll have a value, same situation, 8K minus 130, minus 150. And then we look at it and we're like, oh no, it's like the Farid Bassarat type of mold where it's like, it's a striking strike or there's just not a lot to be had. This is the opposite. This is the situation where you have to have a piece of this type of fight in the middle range. And I agree. The experience comes into play. Carpenter's so raw. The problem for me is like the takedowns were there for Nascimento. Once he was in top position, Fiala wasn't getting up. I have to personally cross that off because he was sick. Nobody on these, MMA Twitter is bringing up that point. How come like we're the only two, JSU? Like he was sick. He's not going to get off his back once he's down there. I mean, he gave up a massive amount of control time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, who's bringing it up. Obviously, it was clear that he was sick, but I mean, you can throw it out if you want. Nascimento's a good fighter. I think we see, something similar, and I think, we saw him through adversity. Like I brought up the Makayev fight before, where like he didn't have the actual edge, but like the skills when they got down were a lot closer than people would have thought, and he kind of proved it. And yeah, I mean, I think his skills might be a little better on the ground than Clayton Carpenter. So we'll see.
Not a lot of significant strikes here. Let's just be quite frank.
But when he throws heavy when he throws. Like he doesn't throw a lot, but when he throws, he's throwing to hurt you.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, home game.
That's good for DFS.
He's going to have
I wish they gave us a takedown line though, Mike. I want a takedown line. I want a takedown line for pick 6.
Yeah, I mean, I think Carpenter is just going to force the scoring for Fiala, like you kind of alluded to. It's going to be Carpenter coming straight in, whether it's Fiala dropping down for a double, an ankle pick, something crazy just to get it to the mat.
Dude, the scrambles in this fight are going to be sweet.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a fun one to watch.
Yeah.
And again,
where do you want to go here? Where do you want to go here? I mean, do you want to go control time? Do you want to go Filo over fantasy points? I mean, what do you want to do?
When you look at value, you got the minus 130. That fantasy points should be realistically what? 72.5, 70. I look for value. That's just what I do. That's my game. I mean, he shouldn't be 58.5. That's
I agree. They have almost the exact same fantasy point line. Like, how are we not taking the more there?
Yeah, you have to take the 58.5 there. It's just a must click from a value standpoint and the style of fight and the DraftKings scoring, which is the best scoring there is out there. We move on to the next fight of the night. There's some type of scandal in this fight. Lucas Almeida versus Michael Aswell. We have Michael Aswell swelling up to, see what I did there?
You like that. Yeah, I like that.
Swelling up to a minus 260 favorite on DraftKings Sportsbook. Lucas Almeida, a plus 210 underdog. This is Handgate. There's a broken hand, a right hand. JSU has the intel. He dropped it in the Discord. Make sure you guys are giving like for this free content that we're breaking down, and you're getting into Discord because sign up for RPS right now, man. I mean, think about it. You've got football. NHL just came back. NBA's right around the corner. We all here for MMA, but I mean, get yourself subscribed. Click that subscribe button. You have intel for us, JSU? Is that what I heard?
All right. So I'm going to preface this by saying that I am not a doctor. I'm not a PA. My wife is a PA. She works in an emergency hospital out here. And I showed her the picture when she got home because she worked overnight. And she said pretty much that the hand could be broken, but the fact that it's diffuse swelling, which means it's just like, it's not in one area. It's kind of spread out. Could mean it's just fucked up, but there's nothing actually broken. So, take that for what you will. That, she's just looking at a picture, and that was her initial thoughts. But either way, it's still not good for Lucas Almeida. I did feel like, okay, there's a chance like there's not a broken bone though. Like that made me feel a little better, Mike, when thinking about it. It's like, okay, there's at least a shot that there's not a break and it's just really messed up. So either way, he's going to go. He's tough.
Where were you before? Let me ask you a simple question. Where were you before any of the hand gate came out?
I think this fight is a close decision. I was leaning to pick Almeida here in a close decision. That's what I was leaning.
I also, early in the week, just so we're on the same page, I did like Almeida. I liked Almeida for upside. I liked him for volume. Same. He's the guy that could just go out there and just fucking throw 5 million strikes. And
Aswell's the same. So I thought their styles might give us like a good, fantasy fight, even though I think it's striking mainly. And when we have mainly striking fights, Mike, it's not always the best scoring, right? Like for DFS, we want more of the grappling and the takedowns and stuff. But at their price tags, I was like, okay, they could get there at these price tags. I always go back to like that Esteban Rimovic's last fight, where it was an absolute war. The guy threw like 5 billion strikes, and he scored like 88 fantasy points. And I was like, how the fuck? But there was no like grappling. There was no wrestling. You know what I mean? It was all striking. So that's like the annoying part of the scoring at DraftKings. But, we just got to know that and go through it. Now, the way I look at this fight, it's a little different. I do worry about his volume specifically. If he's a little more tentative to throw with that hand, obviously that would make a difference. So, or like he's just sitting there trying to find one big shot, right, Mike, which was not what we want for DFS. Because if he doesn't find that big shot, he's going to get volumed up and lose a decision. So I don't know where to really go with this fight for DFS.
I don't either, but I'll tell you, ownership at the moment, Michael Aswell at 15%, and we have Almeida at 35%. That is my own personal projections. And here's the situation.
I think that's close to what happens too, honestly.
Lucas Almeida, to me, was a play early in the week. I'll lay it out there. I thought he had upside. He has the better inside the distance line than Aswell. Almeida had on DraftKings Sportsbook. Well, obviously things have changed, but it was like, for instance, a plus 250 inside the distance for Almeida. Now Aswell and Aswell was a plus 380. So I mean, he had 1.5 points of inside the distance equity for Almeida. I like that to back my underdogs. That's one of the things I'll always preach. It's my favorite thing. And at 7,600, he did a lot for your lineups. I talked about trying to build in this mid-range. But here's a wrinkle, and here's something that I'm going to personally be doing. You have to look at that comment there from a bunch of people thinking that it could get scratched. People aren't going to want to click this fight. And people, if they are, a lot of people going towards Almeida, it makes me want to zig when everyone's zagging. I want a piece of Aswell now at 15% owned. What the hell, dude? The doctor could stop it in the first round after they get to the stools. That's 90 fantasy points. I like zigging when people are zagging. 8,600. It's not going to take a lot for him to get there. What the hell happens if he throws the first punch and it breaks and it snaps, and then the time, right? And you see the doctor come in. Anything's possible. The variance is turned up extra high because it could get canceled before it starts. It's not like it's the first fight of the night. People aren't going to want to play it. I have to get more Aswell than I want. Not to mention, there's money line equity here, baby. I mean, Aswell having all that money line. Yeah, I mean, he's not a cash play. Let's be honest. I mean, you can back it up by saying he's got the money line equity, but I think there's other cash builds to go on this lineup. Would you slam him in cash? Because I still think he could get finished. That's the crazy part. I think Aswell could get finished.
Yeah. Yeah, the more we talk about this fight, I think you're right. I want to get over on Ashwell. I might change that, since he's coming in so low owned. And man, I don't want to
Do not
fade
lock this fight.
No. I'm not. I don't fade Lucas Almeida, but I might just do it. The uncertainty. I mean, if I'm Ashwell too, I'm like kicking that hand. I'm like kicking it like where he's gonna block. Like I'm not even trying to hit his head. I'm trying to just get his hand. Because think about it, like blocking a kick's gonna hurt. Like pretty much anything where you're like, it's gonna hurt when you start like hitting it. And I could just see Ashwell just being like throwing it right
He's
at his
mean
hand.
dude.
Yeah,
he can go in there and go. He's not just gonna be playing punchy kicky at a distance. No, he wants to get in there and do damage.
He's gonna move forward. That's the good thing about this fight. They're gonna move forward. Yeah, the more
but it's about ranges, right?
I'm gonna go higher on Ashwell, and I'm gonna be very low on Almeida, if not full fade. The more
it's crazy. I was gonna be so high on Almeida through the week, and here's the situation again. Just to break it down, I love the middle range. It's about ranges. So when you look at Lucas Almeida, and he's competing with the main event, Charles Oliveira, Nickel, Con Offley. We talked about Simon. So obviously we would have earlier in the week ranked him a lot higher. Now we have to bump him down. It's easier to get to a Charles Oliveira, right? Like it's easier. We talked about Stuart Nickel as a potential upside. So it's like you don't need to force in Almeida. Then you look at Ashwell and it's like, well, he's the odd man out. I love me some Ricardo Ramos. We talked about Rocha being in a variance type of spot. The main event piece in GAMROT's right there. I think we might have uncovered a little potential lower owned favorite type of leverage. I mean, it is leverage at this stage, right?
Yeah, no, it is. And do you want to take Ashwell do you want to take Ashwell fantasy points, or what do you want to do?
No, we aren't touching this thing. No. Because do you know why? Because when it gets canceled, you get a 0 and you lose. We're not.
That's a good point. All right, good point. All right,
I got you. We're a team here, man. I gotta think positive. 47 points in Ashwell in his loss against Oki, and he brought it 118 significant strikes. There's a lot to be had here. Just bringing the point up that there's a good floor in this fight if it actually happens. We move on to the next fight of the night, where we end up seeing Ricardo Ramos, who I just was talking about, versus Con Offley. We have Ricardo Ramos as a favorite here at minus 205 on DraftKings Sportsbook, a plus 170 for Offley. We talk about trajectories and sometimes you got that prospect moving up, and now we actually have age coming down, age being a factor for Ricardo Ramos, and Offley just being awfully bad in his UFC 10 years so far. This is an interesting spot because, it's a loser gets cut. We have Ricardo Ramos, who honestly, I loved always targeting his fights because he brings it. He's got elbows. He's got superior striking. He can have the ability of going for a takedown game once in a while. It's very good scoring base for him. Problem is, like I said, the age is up there. He's getting a little bit long in the tooth. Offley is a guy who has 2 straight losses in the UFC. Not exactly sure why they kept him after he lost to Santos. Wasn't that a Ultimate Fighter finale against Marion Santos?
I can't remember.
I think it was. And I'm like, why the hell did they sign Con Offley? Like, he can go for control time. He's not great, but I feel like they thought maybe you go for takedowns. He's got no takedowns in the UFC. He lost against Naimov. Lower pace. My concern is that Offley plays the risk-adverse game. He doesn't want to go to striking. He wants to hold Ramos up against the cage. Problem is Ramos wants to do that same thing. Scoring purposes, it's on like a tier 2 for me. But it's terrifying because I love Ricardo Ramos. Ricardo Ramos, a guy that I told you can drop down, get a double. He puts himself at risk sometimes, which means what? Good for fantasy. But I can see this thing stalling out.
Yeah, Khan definitely has that style. I think though, Ramos, I think if I'm Khan, you almost got to pressure Ramos into feeling like he's got to, for some reason, he has this, like, when he feels uncomfortable, he just shoots Ramos. And I don't really understand it. And if you go and watch some of his fights, I mean, he's getting guillotined, but he's but he's winning like wrestling and grappling exchanges. And then in scrambles, pretty much after being in a dominant position, he'll like lose the dominant position and he'll end up in a scramble where his head gets caught in a guillotine and he can't get out. And it's happened twice now. And if you go back and watch those fights, like the Erosa fight, before any wrestling happened, Ramos had him hurt. Julian Erosa was dropped like immediately. Ramos had him, hit him nice, fell down, and then for some reason was like, all right, I'm going to wrestle this dude now, and started wrestling him and got on top of him. Rosa, got his shit back together and then eventually kicked him off, forced the scramble, gets caught. This is the stuff that happens. It's the same thing. Like he dared him to like shoot again, and he did shoot again, and he caught him in the guillotine. And then the Jourdain fight, not exactly the same. He didn't drop him, but it's very similar. Forced the wrestling, gets caught. If I'm Khan, I do the same thing. I want him to pretty much pressure himself into, forcing scrambles and wrestling and stuff, because that's where he'd have like a chance. I think in a striking match, like Ramos is the better striker. If I'm Ramos, I don't wrestle at all. I want to strike with Khan. I want to. That's how he lost the Santos fight. He was losing. He was getting kicked at range, and then all of a sudden, in the second round, he was like, "I need to go get him." And so I'm sure his corner was telling him, "You can't just stay at kicking range." And what happened? He went forward, he started throwing, and he got knocked right down and out. And, I think Ramos could do the same thing if he just stays away from the wrestling. I just don't know if he will. So, I have both these guys for DFS. I'm probably, what's Ramos, like 30%, 25?
Oh, yeah, right there. He's, no.
I got him like 20,
25. It could be higher. Who knows? I expect the money to come in on him a little bit later, just because there's a lot of Brazilian money. People are just going to build the Brazilian favorite parlay, right?
Let's be honest. DFS, like 20, 25%, we think.
Yep, definitely. Yeah. Well, there's only one play in this fight, and it's terrifying to say. It's probably going to be Awfully at 20. Well, I'm seeing 20. I'd guess he's more 15, wouldn't you?
Who, Awfully or Ramos?
Yeah, Awfully.
Oh, yeah. I have more Awfully, too, because I think he's the – I just don't trust Ramos. I've seen him make – he's the better – Ramos is the better fighter. I don't even think it's close. I think he's the better fighter. I think he was the better fighter against Erosa. I think he was the better fighter probably against Jourdain. He just got caught. And that's my opinion. So I think he's a pretty good fighter who just makes mistakes, and, it can be costly. So I think it's costed him for sure.
Yeah, and let's also talk about Awfully has actually, 2.5 minutes, 4.5 minutes of control and still scoring 9 points or 24 points. Like, he should just be getting those little, you know what I mean? Like, he's not scoring at a high rate. Whereas Ramos, like I said, at least he has the distance to probably have that advantage of striking. I like the over 34.5 for strikes for him. But when I say like gently, I'll do more digging as we get to the next fight. But because, listen, like you mentioned, he could kickbox, right? If he kickboxes for 3 rounds, you're going way north, 80. Let's talk about a ladder. I love myself a ladder. What do we have for lines on that? It's got to be pretty outrageous.
The only thing that sucks is like if Khan just holds him against the cage or something like that. That would suck. But I could see a ladder hitting. Definitely.
Yeah, some type of ladder. 45 is 115 plus 115. His over-under is right there still at the 36.5 on DraftKings Sportsbook. The highest ring of the ladder is 80 significant strikes for 11-1. Yeah, just sniffing things out, a nice little
I could fuck with that.
Yeah, I like it. And again, Awfully's pretty hittable. Because why? This is where you say he's awfully bad.
I'm not going there. That's you. That's you. You're the creative one. I'm just gonna say he's terrible, but we both figured that out.
It's okay. I don't mind saying my opinions. We know that by now. Let's move on to the next fight of the night, where we see I'm still marking this as ugly heavyweight fight, man. It is not pretty. It's Jonathan Diniz versus Mario Pinto. We have Mario Pinto as the underdog opening this week as the favorite. He was minus 150 on DraftKings Sportsbook when the line opened. He's now a underdog. We have Denise at minus 120 on DraftKings, plus 100 for Pinto. Many ways this thing can go. I mean, you can, if you look at that pie chart of outcomes outside of submissions, either could knock each other out. It could be a kickboxing match for 3 rounds. It could be an early finish for either one. It could be they both knock each other down. I see high variance in this spot. I see a Brazilian guy that the UFC kind of wanted to get behind. You could tell kickboxing background, a lot of heavy striking, come in contender series. And then you have Pinto, who, same thing, contenders, not an A+ prospect. I'd rank him at like a B, C+, B-. Like he was okay, but look at the competition. Denise is fighting the best of the best. I think that's why the line has gone towards Denise through the week. Either guy knocking out ability is there, but again, when this thing busts, it's not going to look pretty. So you have what we talked about, Fialho and Denise. That's going to be a very popular build. So when I talked about a mid-range build, I'm looking for leverage spots. What am I looking for? A leverage spot like Pinto. I'm not saying I'm going to get there, but this is a situation where I'm looking at him at 10% owned, perhaps, maybe 15. I don't think he gets up to 20 range for Pinto, but that's direct leverage if he's able to really school a guy that's going to be 35% owned in Denise. How are you attacking this fight? Again, I'm getting a little crazy here because I like the ranges. This is the range I love. It's just, if there's going to be any fight that busts in this, like say 85 to 8,200, it's this fight that's going to bust.
Yeah, we don't normally say this about these big boy fights like this that are priced like this, but I agree with you. This would be the fight that busts. And it's kind of the styles. I mean, Jonathan Denise, he's a good kickboxer. Like he in the last fight, I don't know if it was him or his corner or everyone like decided like, hey, just stay safe. This dude is not defensively sound. Just pick him apart. And that's kind of what he did. And, you know, he was good, but like Alvin, he should have finished Hines. You know what I mean? And
no. He was on steroids. Alvin Hines can't get finished when he's on steroids, dude.
All I'm saying is at points in that fight, Denise decided, I'm just beating the shit out of him. I don't need to like actually like finish him when he was like hurt. And that's just his style. Go look at his fights, like second, third round. There's a reason behind that. It's just the way he fights. And Pinto is kind of similar in that aspect. So I could see where they're kind of staring at each other for a round, round and a half before like anything good happens, which might not score amazing for DFS. I mean, you go look at the Denise fight against Hines. He had what, like 112 significant strikes, scored 75. I mean, it's a win, 75, but is that guaranteed? I don't think that's guaranteed.
No, and I think when you go X's and O's for kickboxing, the money came down on Denise because he's the home favorite, because he's got the more experience.
I think he's the better fighter.
Pinto's an unknown. When you talk about unknowns on a card, like sometimes I just like to look at all the names on a card, right? You go top to bottom. Who are some unknowns, right? I mean, some would say Bia, right?
Definitely.
But I mean, everyone on this fight card has some type of known commodity. Mario Pinto is an unknown commodity still. We don't know. He's not a refined product. He is somebody that can grow fight to fight. And I talked about when you're making these mid-range builds, if you're just sprinkling and living in this zone, you're getting a guy at potential 10% ownership. I have to take shots at him. I do think Denise is the better fighter and wins the fight, but just strictly on an ownership play, I think you're silly to not look at a Pinto. Like, I have to have a piece of them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Getting a little slice of Pinto, 15, 20%, I think is fair.
The problem is it's when you have these reverse values, right? You have a Carpenter, you have a Pinto. It's hard to get to them from a fantasy standpoint, people don't want to click these types of guys. So you're
getting these are like MMA
leverage
type plays. You know, you're probably not going to hand build and throw them in your main team, but they're like plays that, you know, at least one of them anyways, you should probably get some leverage on and have a piece of.
Yeah, and that's the type of slate I see it, you know. It's just a middle range type where the equity is here. So when you're getting a lower owned guy that potentially could kill off a lot of lineups. I mean, let's be honest. If there's one person to shoot a takedown, it better be Pinto, because we've seen what Denise can do or not do off his back.
I don't think Denise is shooting no takedown. And
no,
yes,
exactly.
Awfully does suck. He sucks. Almost is better.
You just said a minute ago you weren't going to say it.
I said Awfully sucks.
Okay, good. Thank God. Okay, we're on the same page. I thought you didn't
I didn't
want to
say he was awfully or whatever you were saying.
Oh, all right.
Awfully, whatever the fuck you were saying before. I didn't say that shit. I just said he sucks. You don't like
my puns. So that's fine.
Yeah.
All right.
No, you wanted me to say your pun, and I was like, no. I'm not saying the pun. That's your game. That's not my game.
Well, there's no pun. There's no puns in the next fight, because a Joel Alvarez fight is a
banger,
is a must-watch television. I mean, do you remember how bloody he was against Arman Tsarukyan? That was one of the best, like, craziest, bloodiest, goriest fights I've ever seen. Alvarez,
that was like one of my favorite fights to watch. Like, I love that.
I honestly
fight.
took some. I'll say it. I took some shots on him against Tsarukyan, and I don't care that I lost, because it was just amazing that he survived a little bit. We have Joel Alvarez coming in on DraftKings at -535 favorite versus Vicente Luque +400. The veteran, I mean, they're both veterans, but the real long and the two veteran Luque here at home as a 4-1 underdog. Luque is the type of guy I've always loved, because he can sit down on his punches. He can be a power striker. The thing that I like to see was that he evolved. What was the fight where he went for the takedowns recently? Rafael dos Anjos, right?
I think he was trying to go for takedowns against Kevin Holland too.
I mean, it's a guy that is not aging like fine wine, but he is hanging in there. Tough matchup. It all comes down to matchup. See, you got to build up this narrative a little bit, right? I can't just throw it away. I like Luque. But Joel Alvarez is just a tough matchup for pretty much anybody, because he's got the aggressive wrestling, the takedowns, the submission game is beyond on point. I mean, he can find things. If you shoot on him, he'll get a guillotine. He's got a strong guard. Everything is leaning towards a strong, dominant inside the distance win for him. He's -275 inside the distance on DraftKings Sportsbook. He has all the ownership too. That's my big concern, because if this thing gets out of a first round, do you think that Luque can put up a little bit of resistance for scoring purposes? We're looking at nearly 50% of the field clicking Joel Alvarez. I have concerns.
Yeah, I mean, this is purely just a leverage play off of the chalky play, but he should be the best play. He is the best play in that range, so he should be the highest owned play in the 9K range for sure. I think he's got the best path. Now, when you look at Vicente Luque, he's still good. Like, he's not losing to bums. Like, he is losing to Kevin Holland, Joaquin Buckley, Jeff Neal. Like, these are good. Those are good fighters right there that he's losing to. You know, he's beating kind of the guys he should beat. So the question is more just like, where do you rank Joel Alvarez? You know what I mean? I put him, you know, in that tier where he's probably a tier above Vicente Luque. So it does kind of make sense to me. But yeah, could he make it tough? Yeah, I mean, he's skilled. I think Joel is going to find a knockout, though. I think it's going to be under a round and a half. And, you know, the question is just like, if you don't get that early finish, do you get multiple takedowns? I don't know. I don't know if he's going to like just be going for multiple takedowns. I think he's going to have the edge on the feet too. So we'll kind of see what happens. But there's a path where Joel Alvarez, you know, wins a nice clean fight, scores like 95 to 98, and somehow one of those two chicks outscores him, you know, in that 9K range. So that's definitely on the cards here. I'm still going to have a bunch of Joel Alvarez. He's a tough fade for me, so I'm going to have a decent amount of him. But, you know, Yeah, I'm probably going to be lower on Luque. What about you?
I'd love to pull the trigger on Luque, but I can't. Again, it's one of those situations. It's more of a live bet, honestly. Like if somehow he survives that first round, the win equity starts going up for Luque tremendously. It would take a really certain circumstance for me to press that button. Fantasy and pick six wise.
This is a high number, kind of 105.5.
No, it makes it, dude.
I get it makes sense. I'm just saying you still need to do a lot. Like you either need high volume takedowns or you need like the quick win.
I know. And honestly, he's only achieved. Can you guess how many times he's achieved it? I have it right in front of me.
I don't know. Twice?
Yeah, one time. I thought it would be twice. The last fight against Close was 102. Moises, 108. 44 significant strikes in the knockout. So that's all based upon him just doing it. It backs your point up to go under.
It kind of does. If I were to pick a pick six in this fight, you don't have to, but if I were to take one, it would be the less, just because it's just high. Like it's just a high number. You know what I mean?
I personally, I'm probably not going to have to touch that line, but you're forced into
we won't bet it for our thing, but for sure.
You're almost silly to not look at that under because of the 105. But remember what Marab's was the other day. Totally different styles. I'm just saying. True. Sometimes you look at it going, uh-oh.
Marab is not. No, Marab is the fantasy cheat code. We don't even use him in our conversations because he is just the cheat code. Like,
then
because
Joel Alvarez.
nobody is doing that where like every fight, it just doesn't matter. I mean, outside of the Peter Yan fight where like you can just book 5, 6, 7, 8 takedown. Like you just book it. You know what I mean? Like literally you just book. Like,
but Alvarez
no one has that like floor built in. You know what I mean?
All of his wins, he's at like are well north of 95 points. Like it's crazy for Alvarez and his win equity and his upside. So yeah. I mean he's a first click for like cash games and everything like that. But I'm just hesitant if it does get to a second round. That probably means there was some resistance from Luque in the first round. So yeah, I just I love myself some prospect Joel Alvarez, but we've seen.
Swole said someone talked me out of betting 2K on Aswell. Just told my wife if this guy loses someone with one hand, then I'll never bet again. You better take that back real fast because crazy shit can happen, bro. You better take that comment back.
They're allowing him to fight in Brazil.
I'm fine with you betting what you want to bet. I'm saying you better take the comment back about never betting again because, bro, crazy shit can happen. So you don't want to take that. You don't want to take that shit. And then you lose and she's like, all right, you said it. You never bet again. So
you know what's fun?
That one back.
I like that because we all know we're going to bet again. It's the under significant strikes that I've seen for Lucas Almeida. A lot of people are, because when you have these injury type of situations, it's like, well, he's one-handed. How the fuck is he going to throw a strike? So it's like that number, wherever it realistically was, should have gone straight down, right, JSU?
Yeah.
And they're certainly not going to offer it on pick six. So we don't have to go back there.
No, definitely not. And you don't know, too, like I said, the swelling could be down by today. That picture was yesterday, right? That everyone's like posting around. Swelling could go down. Like
also,
if it's not
that
broken.
might be a legendary comment. A lot of people lost to Nick Newell. Nick Newell is the one-armed fighter. He was on Contender Series once or twice. Pretty good comment there, Mad Martin Gang. Co-main event time. Davison Figueiredo versus Montel Jackson. It's a really, really fun fight. I like this fight a lot. We have Mr. Jackson minus 345 on DraftKings at plus 275 for Davison Figueiredo. I mean, this is a binary fight, is it not? I mean, if Davison Figueiredo doesn't go for takedowns, cut this guy. I know he was the former champion, but it's like you have a direct path against a guy who has the biggest hands, right? They always tout it. Every time he's in there, like, this guy has frying pans for hands, some of the biggest hands in the UFC. For a weight class, he's got great hands, but Figueiredo's durable. Figueiredo is getting into his own at the new weight class. The size is definitely a disparity, but that just means when he's getting taken down, Jackson, I don't think he's getting back up. I honest to God think you interlace those feet. If you're Figueiredo, it's one takedown around and you win. I'm shocked by this betting line at plus 275 for Figueiredo. But I think Jackson, I talk about this often, where you look at a guy that's evolving, right? This is a spot where the UFC is saying, you get past Figueiredo, you're getting a main event Apex card against one of the top, 8 fighters, 7 in the world. Great opportunity for Jackson. I like to zig when people zag. Like, I like, there's a lot of love for Figueiredo this week. But, like, isn't there upside for Jackson? Like, say Figueiredo comes in sloppy, he catches something crazy, if he kickboxes, it's over. This fight it looks like minus 1,000 Jackson. I mean, there's no way that Figueiredo wins a striking match here. He has to grapple inside the distance line on DraftKings, a plus 180 for Jackson. That line's crashed from a plus 200. So people are seeing the same thing I am. Figueiredo would probably win a decision. If this thing goes to a decision, I still think Jackson would outpoint him. Problem is, it is in Brazil. The vamos hairs. That's the first time I've said this. You know, we haven't had the Brazilian card in a while, but you're gonna have the vamos hair off with the head, man.
Yep, you're gonna tonight. People are gonna be loving Figgy here, and I'm one of them. I agree with you. I think he's good. I think he has to have a grapple heavy game plan. If you watched any of the Daniel Marcos fight, he's going to look at that fight and be like, I can do some of this. Like, I can definitely do some of this. You know, Daniel Marcos had some success at times against Montel Jackson in the wrestling and grappling. What do you have, like 3 takedowns in that fight? Man, if Figgy gets him down, like Figgy's grappling is still legit. So
did he take Garbrandt down, or was that a knockdown? I mean, you know, the wrestling.
I can't remember. I'll look it up. But either way, like, he still has some power, and he definitely, I agree with you, he should go for the takedowns. I don't think he wants to start throwing with Jackson. That would be a bad probably decision here. So
you know what he say? I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Oh yeah, man. Sorry. I know you like my puns. Sorry.
Your puns. Your puns. I did like that one a lot better than the other one, the awfully one. The Figgy fight, though, 7,200 on DraftKings. I think it's a fight you could go over on in general. I'm going to the toughness of Figgy, that he can kind of extend this fight. Even if he loses, it can go a little later. It's not like a quick loss. But I'm going to be heavy on him in DFS, and I'm definitely betting that submission prop. 12-1 on DraftKings. Yes, please. I'll take 12-1 on Figgy by submission and have some fun there, because I do think if he wins, honestly, I think, submission is definitely the path, in my opinion. So, yeah.
So since he has moved up in weight from flyweight to bantamweight, here's his takedowns: 4, 1, 2, 2, 2. It's too bad that they locked that takedown line, because I guarantee early in the week it was 1.5.
It had to be 1.5.
It had to be, and they said no, thank you. We got smoked. We're gonna have to take that line down. I mean, the other thing too is when you look.
Henry said he got a takedown on Garbrandt.
Yeah. That's what I thought. And I mean, when you look at him coming into the division, that would have been his toughest task. And then
so we're talking ourselves into Figgy control time over. Is that what we're doing here?
Not me. I'm high on Jackson, and you're high on Figgy. And there's nothing we can do. We can't do a shoey that. There's nothing we can do with this.
What's the ownership on Montel coming in at?
Montel Jackson coming in at an astounding 30%. So right there, 28 to 33, a third of the field clicking him.
I'm not going to have much. So if he wins, I'm definitely going to lose.
I don't see Figueiredo coming in at the 10% I see him more as a 15. The higher dollar stuff, I think people might look at him as that money line type of open your lineup up. Because listen,
I want to get more on Figgy. He's 7,200 in this
7,200 does so much on this slate, because I said I like that middle range.
It's directly correlated to winning in DFS with the grappling and the takedown. That's his path. Like, that's what we want honestly, for a scoring path in DFS is guys that should be trying to get takedowns and grapple. And I do think if he gets him down, he will be able to control Montel if he gets him down. So, yeah. I talking myself into more Figgy.
I mean, the ownership, the only problem is like when you look at when Figgy goes to a decision, it's got to be that people are looking at game logs, right? I mean, game log hunting is one of the worst things we can do in MMA. It looks good. Sometimes it's a subjectivity is just brutal because you look at a decision win, 75, 77, 88. On this particular slate, if you get the high 110-point winners in multiple, that's the perfect way for you to win with Figueiredo. But like I said, my problem is you're competing with the middle range. That's the real problem.
Keep in mind, though, too, it's another fighter where the fights he's losing are to the top tier fighters. He's losing to top tier guys. All I'm saying. So if you think Montel is that top tier type of fighter, then yeah, you should be on him. But those are the guys Figgy's losing to, the top tier in the division fighters. He's not losing to the guys just below that, is my point.
Montel's also, let me give you one more thing and we'll move to the main event. Had multiple setbacks. It's not like he's an A++ prospect. He is a prospect, but he's had these fights where, he's scoring 66. He's having adversity against Daniel Marcos. You know what I mean? Like, he has to start wrestling. Game plan wise, sometimes it's just not the smartest for the guy. So yes, I like your pick. I like the idea that you can mix in Figueiredo. It also builds in a different style lineup. People aren't going to go there, and then you can get really different. But yeah, surprising. Third of the field, Montel Jackson. We move to the main event. By far the best fight on the entire slate. We have a near pick'em on DraftKings Sportsbook for Charles Oliveira versus Mateusz Gamrot. We have Gamrot as a slight favorite on DraftKings at -112. We have Oliveira -108. It is straight pick'em pretty much everywhere, so we'll just call it a pick'em for all intents and purposes. Late notice Gamrot. What are we going to get? I think we're going to get an okay style. I mean, we got to go into it thinking, yeah, the deeper the fight goes, maybe he has some problems. All the equity is in an early finish anyways, let's be honest. We've seen it time and time again where Gamrot slows down or gets hurt and then has to rely on those takedowns. I think the takedowns will be there against Oliveira. Oliveira, what was it, against Sarukian, right? Was that the fight where he was taken down most recently? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
He was controlled. The problem was for me is that he was controlled. That means a lot of scoring.
We're really doing this here. We're really trying to do the Arman Sarukian control. The Arman Sarukian, the guy that everyone thought before Islam moved up had the best chance by far of beating Islam. Why? Because this dude wrestled with Islam for 3 rounds. Like, are we, or whatever? Like, are we doing this right now?
We don't have to, but I'm just saying,
it's completely different than Mateusz Gamrot. It's completely different. Why?
Why?
Do you want to know why?
Go for it.
Because all those guys, they also had the elite grappling to go with it. Arman, Islam, Charles, elite grapplers. Not just good elite. And they had elite wrestling. Charles not as good as the other two, obviously. Mateusz, what he doesn't have, and the reason why he has so many takedowns or attempts so many takedowns, he doesn't have good control in grappling. Mm-hmm. So it's so funny. I remember watching Mateusz's last fight, and I think it was DC, and I laughed when he said this, but he was 100% right when he was fighting, I think it was Dan Hooker, and Dan Hooker won. And I was on Dan Hooker. I love Dan Hooker in that fight just because I'm a huge Dan Hooker fan. Dude's badass. But he was literally saying on the broadcast, Dan Hooker should just roll to his back. He should just give him his back. Why was he saying that? Because he said Mateusz's grappling is not elite enough where he's going to be able to take advantage of that situation. And from there, he can just get up because he's not like that dangerous type of fighter. Charles is. And I think Charles is not going to be afraid of the grappling of Mataush, the higher level. So yeah, if Mataush gets a takedown, whatever, Charles will get taken down. He'll figure out a way to get to a scramble. And from a scramble, I think Charles can win a scramble and get on top. I love Charles in this fight. I don't like the line. The line is a pick 'em right now. And I think Charles is going to win this fight. I don't think Mataush's wrestling is going to be able, I don't think his wrestling is going to save him in this fight, because he's not elite enough once he gets down, I think, to just control him for this many rounds.
I also didn't understand the line. I figured a home game, Charles Oliveira, the guy that was in this fight anyways, against a late notice guy, why is he, plus money throughout the entire week? It's wild.
I don't get it. I literally don't get. I
is
literally
it durability?
Maybe. I mean,
they just think that he shot.
I didn't get the Dan Hooker line. I didn't get the Dan Hooker line when Mataush was such a big favorite. I didn't get that. Mataush is not that good. Once you get him against these high level guys, like, he's a extremely good wrestler who, once you get down to the mat, isn't as dangerous. So these high level guys, like I said, takedown defense is so good now with these top tier guys, and the grappling so good. Like, those guys will be able to give him issues. And you saw it with Dan Hooker. He found a way back up. You know what I mean? And he found a way to, win in his area, which was the striking, where he was the better guy. But like, Charles can do that without even the striking. He can just do it once he gets down with the grappling. So
yeah, it's biased towards, he got knocked out by Taboria right away in the first round, 2.5 minutes. I don't know.
GAMROT was robbed against Hooker. What are you talking about, Rob? Dan Hooker beat the shit out of GAMROT.
Yeah,
GAMROT.
Damage over what?
Damage wins.
Prey?
I mean, Dan Hooker had some damage too, but damage wins. Dan Hooker had more.
Let's talk about fantasy-wise. Both these guys coming in 45, so say 50% of the field, 50-50. How does this fight bust? My whole thinking on if this fight busts is it would have to be an exact outcome for it to bust. It's like they both negate each other for a round in the second round, and then the third round there's a finish. I think that's the only world, like a third round finish, because I think even if it goes to a decision, there's just too much time for them to score fantasy points. How does it bust?
That's it. I mean, I think you said it, like, because the price tags are just so good, and the styles. Like, if Mataush wins this fight, how does he win? Well, it's got to be a bunch of takedowns, because Charles is gonna get 4 scrambles, probably get back to his feet or reverse positions at times. But like, if Mataush can just keep the wrestling pressure, I think that's how he wins, which could score good in DraftKings. So yeah, I don't know. Like, unless you think this fight could stay standing, that's another way it could bust, is if it somehow stayed standing for a little bit. I don't think that's what's going to happen, though. I don't think Charles is going to be afraid of his wrestling. GAMROT's already said he's going to wrestle him. I kind of believe that he's going to do that, and we'll see who's the better guy. So to answer your question, I think there's a finish in this fight. Honestly, I think Charles could finish him.
I agree. I mean, we've seen him definitely stumbled. That Dan Hooker clearly, right? Like, GAMROT's been hurt, and doesn't it feel like game controls for 2 rounds and then Charles sub? There you go. That's what, 75 points?
Right. That's the way it busts right there.
Yep, 100%. And I love the middle range. That's what I was saying about, this is my favorite range. These are the main event, of course, has to be in this price for me. Give me the X's and O's. How are you attacking this slate? Let's just go top to bottom. Like, do you like the middle range that I've been preaching? I mean, you do like your Figueiredo. Figueiredo inherently is going to be a different build. So if you're taking Figueiredo, your builds are going to be so different out there from the field. And listen, we want a Run Pure to win first place for 100K unique. How are you getting unique?
Yeah, I mean, Figgy's definitely going to be away. I'm going to get a little different, because I still like the mid range. You know what I mean? Like Filio, Oliveira, Nickel. I think they're the 3 best mid-range guys. You know, the leverage plays are obviously going against some of those guys. It's going to Aswell.
Pinto. We talked
Pinto.
about, we revealed the Aswell Pinto potential spoiler.
So I think the 3 leverage plays on this slate would be Pinto, Aswell, and Figueiredo. I think those are like the 3 leverage plays. So having at least one of those guys, and then you know, like I said, those 3 mid-tier guys, I want at least 2 of those guys. So on all my teams. So that's kind of the way I'm gonna build on this slate. And then, you know, obviously I want, you know, some of that top tier 9K fighters, but yeah, that's the way I'm going to be different personally.
And I guess the other thing to ask you is if Almeida makes the fight or not. I mean, we have to literally be on the dot if something happens, because
you talked about it. I think I'm gonna fade him and just pray he doesn't find that 1 punch KO.
Yeah. So I have, hey, Mike, what do you think Joel Alvarez's ownership is at? I'm looking at 50%, man. I think 45, 50%. It's right there. The higher dollar, you're going to see that well, every contest, but regardless, the smaller the field, the more his ownership is going to go up. It's just one of those first clicks, minus 275 inside the distance.
What about pick 6 here? We didn't touch on the pick 6 for this fight.
4,
do we like
6? No, I can imagine that they're going to be accurate. GAMROT under strikes, but that's terrifying because you could just light off like 100 points. Well, they're in Brazil too, so it's like, yeah. All right, Charles Oliveira is unconscious, and he's like, he's got him hurt. You got to take him out of there. Our pick 6 is lit as it is, man. It's I love it.
You like the pick 6? All right, so here's the pick 6. We got Pilastri. What's up?
A correlated play. I love it.
Yeah, Pilastri over 2.5 minutes of control time. Villa over on 16.5 significant strikes. Vitor Petrino under on 95.5 fantasy points. Thomas Peterson over 1.5 control time. Fiallo over on 58.5 fantasy points. And Ramos over on significant strikes here. That is our DraftKings pick 6. We got 100 to win 18. All right, we'll take 18x, possibly more.
Absolutely.
Bang, picks in. Get the confetti. Gotta love the confetti, right? Get the confetti. I'll screenshot it.
I like it, man. I like it a lot. And you know, when I talk about the way that I'm going to build lineups to try to get 100,000 by myself, I'm looking at those same things you were just talking about, those leverage points. That's interesting. Aswell. People aren't going to want to go here just because of the hand situation. So know when you're signing up for this, it could go very south, as in a 0 point if they don't allow it to happen. Pinto as one of those potential guys. I'm just living in this middle range and leaving some money on the table. If I can leave at least $200 or $300 with those builds that look like, you know, even if it's just chalky as, for instance, like Denise, Fialho, GAMROT type of build, I still want to leave some money on the table. That's just how I'm going to get unique. And if there's one fighter in this 9K range that's going to really shock the world, I'm going to be bold and say it's going to be Pilastri, because Carolina is old and just there's more upside for Pilastri down the stretch, whether it be a dominant 30-27, and especially at 20% ownership, right? Like, it's not, I wish it was 10. Don't you? Like, I wish Pilastri was like single digit ownership.
Yeah, me too. I mean, she's still going to be, I think, somewhat low, right?
Yeah. So. Definitely 20% compared to everybody else is 30 to 40%, 50%. And also the other layer to this card, Thomas Peterson. If Thomas Peterson gets his takedown game going, stalls out Petrino, kills off, there's another leverage play. And leverage play with upside. It's not going to look pretty. Even if he's going, he could shoot from across the cage and try to take him down and still get him down. That's like how it could look in the second or third round. So once they're tired, it's not going to be looking pretty. But that's where we stand on this card. 12 fights. There's only so much you can do with 12 fights. We're before 2 hours, JSU. What are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to sign off before 2 hours?
Yeah, I mean, what are we gonna do? We broke down this card about an hour 40, and 12 fights. I mean, we don't get the 15 fights or whatever, 2.5 hour breakdown, but that's all right. I think an hour and a half, hour 40 is pretty good. We got the pick six in, locked in, and hopefully it helped people. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way out. You guys enjoy the free show. Hit that thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll be back. There's a show tonight for NFL, Millie Roundtable show with Felix and Rubio on this channel at 9 p.m. if you're building NFL lineups for tomorrow's main slate. And then me, Big T, and Wiley will be on for the Morning Wood at 10 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow.
Discord
for the card.
Make sure you're in Discord at Block. We're going to be up till lock to make sure every fight is on, because
I hope you're up till lock, because it's only 4 o'clock. I mean, what do you go to bed at?
Don't put it past me.
How old are you?
I'm 34 going on 80. I like a little nap time.
We're the same age. What do you mean? We can't go to bed at 4 p.m. Eastern time?
Trust me, if somebody could, it would be me. But
oh God, I couldn't. No way. That's crazy. 4 o'clock, you go to. So you're one of those guys, you go to bed at any time?
I mean, yeah, but I'm a night owl anyways. So
okay. Yeah.
Next week, Day Ritter versus Brandon Allen. My champion pick, but of course they had to slot in Brandon Allen to keep him in there. And then a Kevin Holland fight. Kevin Holland fights are fun, man. Mike Malott. So definitely opportunities next week. So make sure you're keeping that bankroll nice and heavy. And we're going to pick some winners for you guys. Like I said, NFL coming up.
We got to give our favorite bet before we get out of here. Favorite bet.
Oh shit, don't put me on the spot. Let me click through real quick. I had that ladder as a sprinkle for who was the ladder? Ricardo Ramos. I like that potential. That's a nice little sprinkle. I like to give upside. I always talk about a safe bet, my favorite bet. So that's like the sprinkle for some upside. When we
don't need safe on this show. Give us a winner.
Yeah, I know you want winner. Aswell versus Almeida not to even take place, minus 200. Yeah, give me Fialho money line, minus 130. It's a good value. I like to follow that smart money. It's just it's a play that he's going to win 2 rounds, whether it be a little bit of hometown bias. I don't mind. I like Fialho minus 130 against the still green Carpenter here at home. It's a great matchup. And that, like you talked about, that Rocha and Nickel fight, that might be the most fun for both of these flyweight fights for scrambles. I think you're going to see more scrambling on this card between those 2 fights than you'll see in the next coming months in certain fights. So definitely give me some Fialho money line value.
Yeah, and I do think that Stuart Nickel is I think he's flipped to a favorite takedown line. He probably gets over that takedown line if it's not a quick finish. So I like his takedowns over against Hocha.
Why don't you like the plus 3.5 at minus 155 for Stuart Nickel? That seems like he can win around with that jiu-jitsu, and even if he gets screwed on the scorecards, he's probably still going to make it a close fight.
Because I don't want minus 155. I want money line. I already bet him on the money line, so it doesn't really matter. But that's more of a. I'm going Charles Oliveira. Yeah, because Filio was another one, but I'm going Charles Oliveira money line. My long shot is definitely Figgy by sub. It's 12-1. It's too high. I think that's the way he wins.
Sprinkle that with fair to knockout. If you're not sprinkling,
I already bet the Lacerda knockout.
I know you did, but I don't care. The chat was kind of pooping on it because listen, you have to look at the path of victory. Simon Oliveira not taking it serious, been knocked out the last 2 times or TKO finishes. A guy that can easily turtle up and say no mas. Give me that knockout line.
I bet 3 fighters by KO. I bet Bia because it was plus 550. And the sub numbers minus 140, it keeps going up. And then I bet Lacerda and Ramos. Ramos was plus 450, and Lacerda was plus 550. I think those numbers are just a little high.
You could take
those are the 3 by KO.
top to bottom, you could take the whole card by knockout, like literally fight exact outcome. You could look for violence. That's what it has on this card. But again, we have De Ritter versus Allen next week. For JSU, for myself, H3 Buddha, let's get some winners.